Without a doubt, Tom Jones is a generational legend and one of the industry's most influential figures. He is still well respected by the general population, despite having reached the age of 80. That unfaltering commitment has masked many hardships, to the point that many people fail to see them. Take a listen to this film chronicling Tom Jones's plight to understand that nobody's life is ever the same. All his life, the man with the golden voice was burdened by sadness and broken hearts. A passionate love that started when they were young connected him to Melinda Rose Linda Trenchard, his high school sweetheart. When they exchanged vows on March 2, 1957, they were only teens, a hastily planned wedding, spurred on by Linda's pregnancy, rather than a lavish ceremony. Shortly after their wedding, their son Mark was born, and the joys and sorrows of parenting inextricably entwined their young love. Tom Jones had to accept low-paying jobs in construction and the glove industry to help support his new family. Life away from the big stages and loving crowds, filled with hard work, would shape his career. But there was hope for a better tomorrow in his voice, that mighty instrument. The discordant cloud of adultery hung over their marriage. Tom Jones's alluring magnetism got him involved in a number of scandals, all of which hurt Linda deeply. But she remained faithful to her promises and endured the agony anyhow. As time went on, the music industry lost an icon in April 2016, but Tom Jones lost much more. Linda, who was his rock, his anchor, and his love, passed away from cancer. The hole she created with her death will never be replaced. In her recollection, Tom had taken a serious choice. He sold their Los Angeles estate, taking with him not only the magnificence but also the memories they had made there. He kept only treasured photos. He downsized to a modest flat in London, the place they had shared love in the thick of his glitzy career, as if bearing the burden of her last desire. Then, there was the shadowy side. He came clean about his many affairs with groupies, admitting to as many as 250 a year at his most famous. These meetings were brief, and they left a wake of desolation and yearning in their wake. Among his affairs were those with Charlotte Laws, a television host, and Mary Wilson, a renowned American vocalist. A former Miss World named Marjorie Wallace was even involved with him. Elvira, mistress of the dark star Cassandra Peterson, however, made a disturbing confession. She revealed a horrific and torturous event, saying that she became physically ill after losing her virginity to Tom Jones, an ordeal that necessitated sutures. His transgressions have long-term effects. Model Catherine Berkery became pregnant in 1987 after an affair she had while touring the United States. Establishing his paternity in 1989 was the result of a judicial struggle that included DNA testing. Despite this, Tom Jones never showed any signs of wanting to meet the son he had with singer Jonathan Berkery. Among Jones's many hardships throughout his life was the decision to leave the UK in 1974 in protest of the new Labour government's 98% income tax. Amid 1976, he bought a home from Dean Martin amid the sun-drenched hills of Los Angeles, a location that brought him both comfort and sadness. Although he may have found solace there, he also had to deal with the consequences of his decisions every day, even as he basked in the fame and fortune of his profession. The legendary musician Tom Jones came into this earth on June 7, 1940, in the humble abode of 57 Kingsland Terrace in Treforest. His coal miner father, Thomas Woodward, was one of Frida Jones's diligent parents. Tom's family tree is heavily skewed toward the English side of things. His maternal grandpa was born in Wales to English parents from Somerset and Wiltshire. His maternal grandmother was born in Wales to English parents from Somerset and Wiltshire. His paternal grandfather was from Gloucestershire, and his paternal grandmother was from Wiltshire. Wood Road Infant School, Wood Road Junior School, and Pontypridd Central Secondary Modern School were Tom's first educational institutions. He went to these schools, although he wasn't much into athletics or traditional schooling. At an early age, Tom's extraordinary singing ability shone through, distinguishing him from the crowd. At weddings, family events, and as a member of the school choir, he would often demonstrate his impressive singing abilities. His extraordinary career as a vocalist began with this. There was a difficult time in Tom Jones's childhood. Tuberculosis, a severe and sometimes fatal disease, was identified in him when he was 12 years old. He had to stay in bed for 2 years due to this illness. Looking back, he said, "I spent 2 years in bed recovering. It was the worst time of my life." Despite being physically limited, he found comfort in music and painting during this period. He buried himself in music, painting, and listening to a diverse array of tunes, as he had nothing else to do. A full-throated, muscular baritone would become a trademark of Tom Jones's singing career. It was a voice that was both strong and unique. But he fancied himself a tenor when he was younger. "Aging has changed his vocal range," he said. "What you lose on the top end, you gain on the bottom end. I used to be able to hit a top C when I was young. Now it's a B flat." Tommy Scott and the Senators were a Welsh beat group that Tom Jones joined in 1963, marking the beginning of his career as a musician. Their popularity in South Wales grew rapidly, and they won over many locals. The next year, they collaborated with famous producer Joe Meek to make other solo singles. Nothing came of Meek's attempts to get a record contract. In 1964, nevertheless, things changed for the better when Decca producer Peter Sullivan saw Tommy Scott and the Senators play at a nightclub. They continued to do shows in South Wales when he introduced them to Phil Solomon, who would later become their manager. However, their collaboration was brief. Gordon Mills, who would later become Tom Jones's manager, and Jones crossed paths during this period. Mills chose to promote Jones to the London music scene after seeing his potential. Gordon Mills even gave him the name Tom Jones to cash in on the success of the 1963 picture of the same name, which won an Oscar. Tom Jones got a recording deal with Decca with Mills's help. The publication of his first song, Chills and Fever, towards the end of 1964, was a commercial flop. But he had worldwide success with his second song, It's Not Unusual, because to the promotion it received from the offshore pirate radio station Radio Caroline. This was the turning point in Tom Jones's career. A watershed moment in Tom Jones's career occurred in 1965. In addition to entering the US top 10, It's Not Unusual also hit #1 in the UK. The James Bond film Thunderball and the Burt Bacharach and Hal David song What's New Pussycat were both composed by Jones, and Mills had Jones record the theme music for both flicks. Jones was reluctant to sing the second song at first, but he eventually gave in to Bacharach's demands that she do so. He called it a bloody crazy song, but couldn't deny its timeless allure. The 1966 Grammy Award for Best New Artist went to Tom Jones as a token of appreciation for his meteoric climb to stardom. In 1965, when shooting was taking place at Paramount Studios in Hollywood, Tom got the opportunity to finally meet his hero, Elvis Presley. A strong bond formed between the two artists. Gordon Mills recast Jones as a crooner and expanded his musical catalog when his fame started to decline in the late 1960s. A star was bestowed for Tom Jones in 1989 by the esteemed Hollywood Walk of Fame. His star may be found at 6608 Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles, California, just across from the legendary Fredericks of Hollywood, which has played home to several famous faces in show business. Decca Records published Jones's 1991 album Carrying a Torch, which included the renowned Van Morrison. The album's title tune, written by Morrison, was covered by Jones. Morrison showcased the synergy between the two famous musicians by writing and producing 4 songs for the project, and a large chunk of the album was recorded in London's Townhouse Studios. The 1992 Glastonbury Festival, held in the United Kingdom, was a watershed point in Tom Jones's career when he performed for the first time. His position as a legendary figure in the world of music was further cemented by this. To add to the iconic and influential score of the 1997 film The Full Monty, Tom Jones covered Randy Newman's You Can Leave Your Hat On and included it on the album. Back in 1996, Tom Jones was all the rage in Tim Burton's science fiction comedy Mars Attacks. Playing the role of himself, Jones had a memorable scene where he's on stage performing when aliens invade. He gets away with a gun, creating a hilariously heroic moment in the film. The album was a huge success, topping the UK charts and selling more than 4 million copies globally. Reload has many songs that peaked at number 40 in the UK. Sex Bomb stood out among them and became a smashing success, penetrating the UK singles chart and cementing Tom Jones's place in music history at number 3 in early 2000. US President Bill Clinton sent a formal invitation to Tom Jones in the year 2000. The request to play at the Washington, D.C. Millennium festivities on New Year's Eve 2000 was a watershed point in his career. His legendary status as a performer and his widespread acclaim were both highlighted by this invitation. Jones won a slew of awards that year for his exceptional performance. And further accolade that cemented his place as a beloved musician in the British music business was the Brit Award for Best British Male, which he received. Furthermore, he lent his distinctive accent to an advertising campaign promoting the 2000 season of Australia's National Rugby League, taking on a unique position as their new voice. Notable among Tom Jones's 2002 albums is Mr. Jones, which was produced by Wyclef Jean, a Haitian-American rapper. Success for the album and its first song, Tom Jones International, in the UK singles chart shows that Jones is still relevant today. As recognition of his lasting influence on the music industry, he was honored with the Brit Award for Outstanding Contribution to Music in 2003. Tom Jones sang You Can Leave Your Hat On during the 7th annual VH1 Divas performance in 2004, joined by the Pussycat Dolls and Carmen Electra. With an all-female lineup that included Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, and Debbie Harry, he was the lone male guest performer in this unusual collaboration. The fact that an 80s ending medley included his rendition of Kiss further attests to his adaptability and cross-generational popularity. With a return performance to his hometown of Pontypridd, Wales, at Ynysangorad Park on May 28, 2005, Tom Jones marked the occasion leading up to his impending 65th birthday. His first concert in Pontypridd since 1964 was this occasion, which was both a major professional milestone and a source of intense nostalgia for him, staged in front of an audience of around 20,000. Tom Jones's incredible professional success was highlighted in the same year when the BBC announced that he had become the richest performer in Wales, having amassed a fortune of $75 million. In 2005, Jones continued his trend of collaborating with Australian pop singer John Farnham, and the result was the live CD John Farnham and Tom Jones together in concert. Tom Jones was presented with one of the UK's most prestigious awards in 2006. At Buckingham Palace, Queen Elizabeth II bestowed the knighthood upon him in honor of his remarkable achievements in the field of music. When you first come into show business and get a hit record, it is the start of something. As time goes by, it just gets better. "This is the best thing I have had. It's a wonderful feeling," Jones said in response to his knighthood, capturing the significance and pride he felt in being recognized as Sir Tom Jones. Tom Jones was among the famous performers that took the stage at Wembley Stadium in July 2007 for the Concert for Diana. Soul singer Joss Stone and Aerosmith guitarist Joe Perry were his stage companions, an unforgettable performance that demonstrated his flexibility and ability to connect with a new generation of music lovers. It included cover versions of some of his iconic songs as well as one with a unique twist, a rendition of the Arctic Monkeys' smash, I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. Tom Jones, who was a huge boxing enthusiast, was asked to sing the national anthem before several fights. In 2007, before to the Floyd Mayweather vs. Ricky Hatton bout, he got the privilege of singing God Save the Queen, the national song of the United Kingdom. He also sang the Welsh national song, Hen Wlad Fi Nadaw, during the 2008 Bernard Hopkins vs. Joe Calzaghe bout, which was much anticipated since it included Joe Calzaghe, another Welshman. Tom Jones's 24 Hours was the first U.S. album release in almost 15 years when it came out in 2008 on S-Curve Records. Jones, who is getting up to 70 years old, keeps up his demanding performance schedule, doing around 200 performances a year. As he set out on a global tour to promote the record, he made it clear that he was still very much alive and wanted to be a major player in the music business. In 2008, Tom Jones received even more recognition for his enduring impact and significant contributions to the music industry when he was inducted into the Hit Parade Hall of Fame. The 16th of November 2008 saw Tom Jones make an appearance on Strictly Come Dancing, a British variety show. The ninth best song of 2008, according to Spinner, was If He Should Ever Leave You, the first single from his 24 Hours album, and his mesmerizing rendition of the song showcased his ongoing creative vigor. Performing 3 songs live in front of a camera in a New York hotel room in February 2009, Jones showcased his everlasting enthusiasm for live music as he joined Vincent Moon in an exclusive performance. Another major turning point in Tom Jones's career came in March 2009 when he became the 3rd artist to top the UK music charts with a cover of Islands in the Stream. He performed the duet with Ruth Jones, Rob Brydon, and Robin Gibb, who with her brothers Barry and Maurice had written the original song. Originally performed for comic relief, the song found its way into the hit BBC comedy Gavin and Stacey, after which the album was named. After a stunning 42-year gap between his last 2 UK number ones, Green Green Grass of Home from 1967, and this song broke that record. His ability to maintain relevance in the dynamic music business was highlighted by this accomplishment, which demonstrated his ongoing appeal. The iconic Welsh vocalist Tom Jones had a career marked by both great success and profound misery. It was on July 26, 2010 that he dropped the ballads of his pop singles in favor of gospel and blues on his album Praise and Blame. It included eerie renditions of songs by legendary musicians such as Billy Joe Shaver, Bob Dylan, and John Lee Hooker. The spiritual significance of the record was further enhanced by the inclusion of the legendary musician Booker T. However, Praise and Blame did not avoid controversy along its trip. The album's first song, Burning Hell, was released on June 7, 2010, the same day as Tom Jones's 70th birthday, and spooky, melancholy undercurrent pervaded this version of a song by John Lee Hooker. Nevertheless, the record was received with doubt and opposition. In one email, David Sharp, whose responsibilities include overseeing Island Records' acquisition of Jones from EMI for a significant $1.5 million in 2009, voiced his severe objections. In order to recoup his investment, he demanded that his co-workers immediately halt the project. The album's spiritual undertones led him to wonder whether it was all an elaborate practical joke. Jones was visibly hurt and furious by this betrayal, and he subsequently attacked Sharp over the stolen email. Even though the release was chaotic, Jones did manage to achieve some success. In July 2010, he made an appearance on the second-to-last edition of Friday Night with Jonathan Ross. During that performance, he sang out a version of Burning Hell, his hoarse voice resonating through the airways. Despite the naysayers, Praise and Blame debuted at #2 on the UK album chart in August. This comeback proved how connected Jones was with his followers and how talented he was for all time. His 100 million record sales by 2010 are evidence of his evergreen popularity. Jones kept on making people cry with his songs after that. At the Help for Heroes benefit event held at Twickenham Stadium on September 11, 2010, he gave a performance. His performance of Green Green Grass of Home moved the hearts of the 50,000-strong crowd. He then went on to play in New York's famed Ed Sullivan Theater on The Late Show with David Letterman on September 22nd, following this performance. Joined by Hugh Laurie on the UK TV series Perspectives, Jones contributed his extraordinary voice to Laurie's first album, Let Them Talk. In May 2011, the two sung songs from the album while immersed in New Orleans. The sadness of the blues and the weight of experience were both conveyed by his voice. In May 2012, Jones had a single called Evil out, produced by Jack White, the ex-lead singer of the White Stripes, and it had made its way into independent record stores including the legendary Spillers Records in Cardiff, a store that had a particular place in Jones's heart since his youth. It was a bittersweet, nostalgic, and symbolic journey back to his humble beginnings. As a member of the coaching team for the 2012 season of The Voice UK on BBC, Jones's career took a startling turn. He was able to pass on his extensive knowledge and guide up-and-coming artists in this way. He was openly critical of the BBC for their lack of consultation and had to deal with the disappointment of not being renewed for the 2016 season, despite his success on the program. With the release of Spirit in the Room in May 2012, Jones maintained a steady stream of musical output during this time. He put his own spin on songs by legendary musicians such as Paul Simon, Leonard Cohen, Paul McCartney, and many more. Not confined to music alone, his profession led him on a diverse path. His acting chops were on full display in May 2012's King of the Teds, a one-off TV drama that showcased his extensive repertoire. Despite the ups and downs that his career had, Tom Jones's music always managed to fascinate listeners with its lasting skill and honest expression of emotion. Alongside the passing of time, he performed on stage alongside a wide range of performers, including Morrissey and Ed Sheeran, each show carrying the cumulative weight of his life's work. Along with the announcement of this album, Long Lost Suitcase, is the third of a trilogy that started with praise and blame. It explored the blues, gospel, and country music that are at the core of American music. It demonstrated Jones's capacity to constantly reinvent himself via his music and his unwavering devotion to the art form. Jones suffered a terrible loss in 2016 when his 59-year wife Linda succumbed to cancer after a brief illness. Her untimely demise created an irreparable hole in his life. Jones took comfort in music after this tragedy and gave his concerts his all. Released in April 2017, Jones's autobiography, Over the Top and Back: The Autobiography, was an honest look back at his incredible rise to fame, which began in a little Welsh village. He gave fans a window into the life of a legendary musician by discussing his ups and downs. Jones kept performing with all his heart and soul despite all that was going on around him. His 41st studio album, 2017's The Lonely One, was out in September. This album further cemented his place in music history as a respected singer by showcasing his strong vocals and profound emotional range. Jones has amassed a plethora of accolades for his musical achievements during the course of his career. He saw his knighthood from Queen Elizabeth II in 2006 as the pinnacle of his career because of the recognition it brought him for his contributions to music. His legendary position was solidified in 2010 when he was honored with a Brit Award for outstanding contribution to music. Tom Jones's mesmerizing stage presence and strong vocals still mesmerize audiences today. Over the course of his extraordinary six-decade career, he has become one of music's most iconic figures. Even though he's getting up to 85 years old, Jones isn't slowing down. He's still touring and making music for his many loyal admirers. The incredible career that Tom Jones has had is evidence of his skill, perseverance, and love for music. True to himself and his passion for music, he rose from modest origins in a Welsh village to become a global superstar. In his words, "I'm still here and I'm still doing it and still selling records. I'm very happy that I'm still doing it." Despite facing insurmountable odds throughout his life, Jones has never let his passion for music dim his light. His heartfelt performances and strong voice have won him a spot in music history books forever, touching the hearts of people all around the globe. Tom Jones is a genuine theatrical legend and an enduring icon because of the joy and inspiration he brings to audiences via his songs.